Keith's come to us with discomfort in the upper body, so stiffness in his upper body after a couple of hours, and he's telling me that he's got pain and discomfort on the nose of the saddle. So a couple of hours in, you're getting numbness, or is that there's no rhyme or reason to the duration that comes on in?
After prolonged riding.
Just like pure numbness?
Yeah, and then perhaps just shifting a bit on the saddle to get comfortable.
Yeah, okay. Well, straight away, so things that I'm seeing would be you're moving in a pattern that like is quite common for someone that's a little bit too set back at the hips. If you were like drawing a vertical line at the bottom bracket, like you can see Keith's hips are quite far back from the middle of the bottom bracket. So in order to put our hips back from the bottom bracket, we're having to add tension into this whole area by doing this. So Keith's hips are back, it's adding tension in, and then he's reaching with his upper body. So effectively, he's pulling his pelvis back the way to get it loaded on the saddle at a place where he can feel comfortable. And then he's having to really extend his upper body in the opposite direction because of this long, low, all-in-one, like aero frame, all the rest of it. So what we're gonna try and do, as far as I can see, is get Keith less strenuous in the saddle area. And what I'm gonna do is move the saddle forward and then help him go from this rolled back position that he's sitting on this bike in to feeling more comfortable rolling forwards. And then effectively what I hope to do is make the front end of this bike feel a lot more comfortable for him. Your experience in terms of like, you can ride a bike pretty well, and I can tell you know how to pedal, but you can just see this slight acceleration of your feet through the bottom of the pedal stroke. I can feel a lot of tension in this lower part of your hamstring especially through the very bottom. So that's telling me that right now, your pelvis is too far away from the bottom of the pedal stroke to get full control there. And then if you pedal forwards normally, you can see through the bottom of the pedal stroke, he's almost like trying to add in some extra control through the bottom of the stroke with his foot just extending. And to me, that's just not that efficient. If his feet are paddling through the bottom of the stroke, eventually you're gonna get sore feet as well as like soft tissue on the nose of the saddle. And then just to look at, Keith, you look sort of like you're getting just strung out and you just look a little bit like you're holding tension. So I'm gonna get you to jump off, and I'm just gonna start by moving the saddle forwards. I'm gonna have a look at your feet inside those shoes, and because this is an all-in-one bar stem, there's not really much I can do about this. I might play around with the hood angle very, very, very slightly, just to make it less of a reach to grab, but you know, we'll find out in a minute what we get there. But I think the crux of your issues will be solved by moving the saddle into a position that is more controllable through the bottom and moving your pelvis forward by moving the saddle forward, and hopefully then I can get you to relax. We'll find control through the bottom, we'll find stability in the pelvis because you can relax, and then you'll feel a lot better from there. Keith actually works for Windwave, which is the distributor of Colnago in the UK. So he's come in today with his beautiful Colnago Y1RS that is also available for purchase at Edinburgh Bike Fitting. Just thought I'd drop that in.
I've never actually. Yeah.
Probably need to cut it a tiny bit if I'm honest with you. See, there's just like a little bit of extra volume.
Right, yeah.
And underneath your foot, I'm wondering if we were to able just like to fill that space up.
Yeah.
That you might feel like you've got like
more support.
Yeah, basically, and essentially like more control, because if you think there's nothing underneath that part of your foot, and if I'm like, right, well, push into your foot in order to get the best possible activation in there, then we want that space filled.
Right, yeah,
because we don't want your foot moving around in there.
No.
And also we want you to feel that you can like get a nice reactive push against your foot when you're trying to push down on the pedal. So I'm gonna chuck in some of these insoles. Here's some I prepared earlier. Slider straight in there. Go and tell us the story of these shoes again, how you managed to get them.
So Josh Charlton, GB track rider, he borrowed my turbo in the build-up to the World Pursuit Champs in South America, and I said to him, if he won the gold, he had to give me his shoes. So shortly after he got back, I went round to collect them. So yeah, world champion shoes.
Were they the actual shoes that he wore?
Yeah, they're the shoes
in the Pursuit.
Shoes he wore in the Pursuit final. Pretty big shoes to fill.
One of the little things I'm doing is I'm also just dialing in the reach of the brake levers. Just at the front of this here, there's a little 2.5mm slot where you can just turn that in, and it just effectively reduces the reach of the brake slightly. It's going to be easier to grab the brakes while you're on the drops. We don't give discounts if you unwrap your own bar tape though, so don't get any ideas. One of the things I didn't like about Keith's position is shoulders are really reaching forwards. And in order to try and help make this upper body easier to support, I want to put the wrist into an advantageous position. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is I'm gonna just very, very gently pull the hood closer. And you can see all I've done is I've grabbed this hood with the pinky and the ring finger, and I'm just pulling it back until I feel like the position of the long part of that hood body is even in terms of the pressure it's distributing across my hand. All I'm doing is just making it easier to put my wrist into a neutral position where I'm not kind of putting it like here, 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 or here. I'm just having it nice, straight and neutral and looking for even sensation of pressure. In turn, that's gonna keep the elbow a little bit more relaxed and make it easier to relax the upper body into the shoulders, make it easier to just feel more relaxed on the bike. As you see, I've just changed the angle of this so it's just not coming off flat. All I'm trying to do is make it easy to put these two fingers in here and then just relax my hand without any buildup of pressure here or here on any part of this section of the bike. Okay, that was it bottoming out.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's where it was at the start, so.
I always laugh about my saddle height because people say, what's your saddle height? And I say it's 35 inches because it's always been from the top of the saddle, you know, because it's dead easy to remember. So I've always gone with 35 inches.
No matter the crank length.
I'm pretty old school, so I dropped down from 175s, you know, a couple of years ago.
And it felt like a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, centre bottom bracket on 172.5 to top of saddle's always been 35 inches.
Yeah. Okay. Just to avoid any possible mistakes I might have, I want to get all the context possible, so I'm just going to move the saddle into a better position on Keith's bike before I cut it, because I can only cut a Colnago seat post once, but I want to be sure that the saddle really needs to go down on this bike before I make that decision.
Hips are possibly rocking a little bit less there, aren't they?
Yeah, but you're sitting on the bike funny, so you're sitting on the bike like you're wanting to sit at a chair. Like, having just seen your tri position, you don't sit on your tri bike like that. What you're doing is you're scooting your bum underneath yourself. You're scooting your bum back, and then you can see very obviously you're sort of sat there, and then your lower spine has like this one angle, and then like halfway up your back you start to be able to relax forward. Other things I don't really like about Keith's position are that he's rolled forward on the right hand side. So you can see my right thumb is a little bit like, I'm going to exaggerate him moving, but you can see here every pedal stroke is moving forward. And actually really what I want is squeeze your core, but then relax into your shoulders at the same time. Like drop your shoulders away, there. And that can sometimes, yeah, like that can straighten you up a bit, being able to engage your core.
Yeah.
So I want you to feel comfortable leaning forwards on that saddle from here and then relaxing into your, yes, like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you feel the engagement changes.
Yeah, yeah.
Keith, lift your big toe up in the cycling shoe, and that's gonna drop your heels slightly. See, I think you can see now that kind of dual like angle. So before, when it was like up and here, now it's just a lot more like one nice neutral angle. But talk to me about what's changed for you in terms of this position. Does it feel uncomfortable to be there?
No, that feels good. I definitely feel less pressure on my hands.
Okay.
And I suppose I can feel that if I engage my core and kind of stop trying to drop my heel so much, you know, that's kind of taking pressure off my lower back.
If you stop pedaling a second, relax your heels, pedal backwards again, you still feel there's just a lack of control. Just like, see, I just want to lower your seat, just like a slither.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do is it's just going to make it easier for you to drop your heels because there'll be less tension here. There's still there's less, but there's a lot of tension down the back of your legs. And if I can just drop it very slightly, I'll make it easy for you to lean forwards, allowing you to get much more even tension up the back of your whole hamstring, not just down here.
Right.
Okay, and then you'll not lose anything from the back half.
Yeah.
But what you'll gain is less pressure on your balls, which is going to be more comfortable and help with the numbness, and it's going to lower your center of mass, so it's going to make all this easier to relax. I feel like I just need to justify the extra removal of a thin slither of carbon fiber on a very expensive bike. One of the things that has happened in your position, because your foot's lower, there's more hamstring, and you can lean further because your hip's lower, so there's less impingement over the top, so then you can get more tension in the posterior chain, so just the muscles down the back of your body that way too. So you're feeling like you can just press the foot a lot more naturally, because before, when you're like this, it just brings in all this tension. As I said, now that you're here, you can push. And one of the kind of good ways to liken it to is that rather than like kind of calf raising, like you're leg pressing the pedals. This guy, Tim, who I do a lot of work with, he kind of highlighted that to me. It's like you're always going to be able to push more weight in a leg press than you are going to be able to do in like a hamstring curl or a calf raise separately. It's like using the whole leg as opposed to just different parts of your leg at different times in the pedal stroke. It's now just one united push. So this is a thing where you've gone straight back to sitting like you were sitting before, right? So I want you to scoot your bum back, but don't force it back, and then just relax your body forwards, and then dropping this part of your body into your shoulders. Because it's an aero bike, ergonomically it's very elongated, so it relies on you being able to rotate your pelvis forward and being able to extend your shoulders from here without pulling your shoulder blades up. So it's like, for me, that tells me you need to have flexible lats, a really mobile thoracic spine. So there's like definite body things you could do to improve the position. You came in here telling me that you have severe numbness on the saddle and you have discomfort in your upper body after 2 hours. We've moved the saddle forward so it's more underneath and it's taken pressure off your soft tissue because there's less tension in this kind of hip setback. We've lowered the saddle so that's taken pressure out of the soft tissue anyway because it's stringing you up less. And effectively we've lowered the differential between saddle and the handlebars anyway. So we've made this bike a much more hospitable place for you to be for a couple of hours. Now, looking at this position that you're in now, are you going to be completely pain-free after a 6-hour epic ride? You know, well, probably not, but I definitely think you're going to be longer than 2 or 3 hours without numbness in the saddle and pressure on your shoulders.
Yeah,
I definitely think that you're better than when you came in.
Yeah.
We've, in summary, kicked the hoods up slightly to make it easier on your wrist to support your weight.
Yeah.
And then by bringing the saddle forwards and lowering it slightly, we've helped you relax into the saddle. And then we've helped your foot into a lower position by filling the void of space underneath it with an insole, helping you push and generate more torque in your legs. And then because you've allowed your pelvis to roll forwards as well, in combination with that slightly better foot position, like all of the engagement in your upper legs should just feel that little bit tighter. So everything should hopefully feel better than it was. But again, like you tell me.
It definitely feels a more stable kind of platform and more comfort. Definitely feel the reach on the levers better.
And then because the saddle's in just like a way better position, even being on the drops here should feel like it's just much easier for you to control.
Even in kind of that position
as
well.
Like way better there. That's how we work through saddle discomfort and upper body pain. And if you have similar issues on your bike, then please reach out to us, edinburghbikefitting.com. Put your questions in the comment section. I will try and get back to you. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Dougie Shaw, the Bike Fitter, and I'll see you guys in the next video.